Let's talk about one of my favorite topics today, donor advised funds. And I love talking about donor advised funds because I meet a lot of people who are still writing checks, they're giving cash, they're inputting credit card information, and then come tax time, they're trying to track down all those receipts, they're trying to itemize, they're trying to figure out if they can itemize their tax deductions. I love a donor advised fund because it simplifies your charitable giving and it also helps you organize it. One of the things that I like about it is you can contribute highly appreciated investments that have been held longer than a year. And you have a wide variety of things that you could contribute. You could do stocks, you could do mutual funds, ETFs, if you have real estate, cryptocurrency, really any highly appreciated asset that the sponsoring organization is willing to accept, you can donate to. And then once you donate it to the charity, you're able to take an immediate tax deduction for the full fair market value in the year that you give it. And then you don't have to worry about tracking down donations in the future because you're getting the tax deduction in the current year. And then going forward, you make what are called grants or recommend a grant to charities in the future. So let's say you put $10,000 worth of an investment into the donor advised fund. From then on, you could recommend grants in any amount that you want going forward. And then the sponsoring organization, such as a Schwab Charitable, Fidelity Charitable, or Vanguard Charitable, there's lots of different sponsoring organizations out there. They'll issue a check to the charity that you select, and they just have to be an IRS qualified charity, 501c3 nonprofit organization. And so it makes it really simple. You make the donation, the funds can be invested or they can sit in cash inside the donor advised fund, and then you can make grants to the charity. It doesn't get much easier than that, and that's one of the reasons that I love them as a charitable giving tool. One of the common questions I get is, how much should I contribute to a donor advised fund? And there's really no perfect answer here. I meet with some people and I find that most people can think about 5 to 10 years worth of gifting. So if they were giving $5,000 per year, they might be comfortable giving $25,000 to $50,000. There's nothing magical or special about that number. I just find most people can think ahead that far into the future and think that's reasonable and feel comfortable with it. One other way to think about it though is at what marginal tax bracket are you getting a tax deduction? So if you're in the 32% tax bracket and you make a contribution, perhaps you're getting 32 cents on the dollar of a tax break there. You'll want to make sure though that you can itemize the deduction. There are some limitations to be aware of, such as 30% of your adjusted gross income or AGI for property or stock donations, or if you're giving cash, which I wouldn't normally recommend in most situations. You can contribute up to 60% of your AGI or adjusted gross income. But one of the strategies is to bunch a few years worth of gifting into the current year to be able to get sort of higher above the itemized deduction threshold. Since the standard deduction is higher, many folks aren't able to itemize and they're forced to take the standard deduction, and bunching many years worth of gifting into the current year is one way to get above that standard deduction. For example, if you had someone that had $10,000 of property, state and local taxes that were eligible to be deducted in the current year, but their standard deduction was closer to $26,000, what you could do is give maybe $30,000, which might be 6 years worth of gifting. And then at that point, you have $40,000 worth of itemized deductions. You're above the threshold now. So many people like to bunch many years worth of gifting into the current year, take an immediate tax deduction today, give out from the donor advised fund over those years, and then potentially replenish it in the future. I hope this was helpful. I love donor advised funds. I love talking about them because a lot of people haven't heard about them. It's an easy way to simplify and organize your charitable giving. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out and ask me. This is one of my favorite planning topics. Take care.